So here we are, one big, beautiful tax cut for billionaires legislation. The Republican pathology with tax cuts for wealthy people continues. The theology for a long time, until it was put to rest, was that tax cuts would pay for themselves. Well, that's just what it was, theology. Then we heard in the middle of the Iraq War, the Republican whip in the House of Representatives say, quote, it was patriotic to cut taxes in a time of war. Then we were told it would always be about accelerated growth. Well, we'll take the Clinton growth rates any day. In 2017, our colleagues on the Republican side passed a tax law that was supposed to pay for itself, raise wages, and help working families. None of that happened. Instead, it exploded the deficit, worsened inequality, and left everyday Americans behind. This bill, as currently proposed, will cut health care from 14 million members of the American family. Now they want to double down on the same playbook, one that rigs the system for billionaires while everybody else pays the price. Here's the real they're going to ignore the baseline for 2017, just make people think it never happened. So they borrowed $2.3 trillion in 2017 for a tax cut that did not impel greater growth. They don't want to even pay attention to that. The other part of this, how about raising the debt ceiling by $4 trillion to pay for their tax cut, which will be with borrowed money? Let's be clear. The Trump economy didn't work for all American families then, and it won't work now. What we've seen is the continued chaos. No real trade deals, no lower prices, no economic stability, empty ports, anxious markets, and rising costs, while the president blames everybody but himself. Complain about the debt on Monday, and then borrow $4 trillion on Tuesday to add to the debt. This legislation pours gasoline on the fire that's already burning. Americans are buckling under the chaos that our Republican colleagues have helped to create, and this bill will make it worse. No wonder a strong majority of Americans believe that this could trigger a recession. They're right. This isn't about growth or prosperity. It's about protecting the ultra-wealthy again. Let me point something else out that's really important. We haven't seen the Joint Committee on Taxation distribution tables yet. You know why? Because that shows who will get what. And it'll give the American people a chance to contrast what's going to happen to those at the top and what's going to happen to those at the bottom who will get $1 a day in tax relief. 70% of the benefits in this bill go to the top 20% of the American family. That's before the Trump tariff tax takes $2,800 out of our household budgets each year, and then Republicans gutting health care that will just drive people to emergency rooms when the hospitals don't close. That's not a tax plan, it's a wealth grab. While the richest Americans are raking in piles of cash, they want to gut the Affordable Care Act, Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. This bill is the greatest loss of health care in our history. According to the Congressional Budget Office, 14 million Americans will lose their health care plan. 2 in 5 pregnancies are covered by Medicaid. It funds long-term care, addiction services, mental health treatments. We all know people that have those challenges and problems. They're our constituents. Cuts like these will devastate families and entire communities, especially in rural areas. And what are they offering in exchange for this pain? The same tired promises that tax cuts automatically will give you more growth, even though the CBO says that's false. In fact, extending that tax scam could conceivably slow the economy, not expand it. It doesn't have to be this way. Republicans have chosen this path. They could have extended the expanded child credit, cut poverty in half. They could have made the ACA subsidies permanently. They could have made meaningful progress with long-term care and housing. Instead, another $2 trillion giveaway to the wealthiest Americans. When they start talking about the deficits, don't forget $10 trillion worth of tax cuts that have never been paid for. They'll use this hole as an excuse to come to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security next. It's the same pattern. Blow up the budget, then gut the programs that people rely on. We deserve a tax system that works. We deserve peace of mind and not the fear that our retirement plans will be taken away. We will continue to fight for the future as Democrats, and we intend to lay out for the American people precisely what this legislation means. It is a tax cut for billionaires.